Coloring tips that instantly make your art better. This is another one of those videos where I'm gonna tell you guys things I wish I knew when I was starting out coloring that I had trouble with for no reason at all. A lot of the things on these lists I'm still studying and finding ways to implement into my own art, but after practicing coloring, it does feel a lot better in many ways. When you're finished adding the flats for your characters, what I like to do is color pick whichever color I have for the skin, and then I tilt the color more towards red, and then I go darker in value. Sometimes I adjust the saturation, it just depends on how you want the feel of it to be. But more or less that's what I do. And I mainly use that color this shade. Pretty much it'll look like a C curve after tilting it towards red. And I used to not do this and my characters would come out looking muddy and dull, but doing this added some variation. This is a common tip, but this is something that kind of jump started me getting into learning new things. When coloring, values are the most important thing. You can use any colors with your art, but if your values are too off, then that's when it starts to look weird. Not even too long ago, I didn't know values as much as I do now, and my colored pieces would look muddy and meshed together in a sense. And there was no clear way to tell the difference in the values. At least that was like half the problem. But the best way to check your values is to turn it into low saturation to only see the values. And I recently started using the hue and value saturation sliders a lot more. So to boost up your coloring, I would suggest use that as well. It's like a little cheat slider. I work on Clip Studio Paint, so what I do is over all my layers, I add a whole new layer, get black, paint the entire thing black, and then set it to, I think it's color. And then it'll show like no colors, you know what I'm saying? It'll just all be like black, grays, and whatever. There's no set guide for using them. I just messed around with them and took my own mental notes when coloring. And over that, I, got my own coloring flow, what I like my art to like somewhat look like. Now I say correctly only in a sense that I fixed my way of using the airbrush, but if what I'm describing sounds like you, like when you color something always feels off, then this might really help you. But I used to use the airbrush all wrong, bro. I used to use it for the coloring, shading, highlights, everything. And that was the reason my shit looked so muddy. I remember somebody pointed that shit out to me on TikTok. So now I keep it light. To only add gradients into my art, I color pick whichever color I want to add a gradient for. And I either have two ways. I either make it more vibrant, higher in value, or I either make it like lighter or darker, depending on what I want it to look like. And then spray it in specific sections. And that's pretty much the guide I follow now to avoid that feeling I had before. And I also use the smudge tool a lot less. Pretty much do not use the airbrush for everything. Honestly, if you could use it less than what you're using it right now, I think that's for the best. And that's just from personal experience. Muted colors are where the sweet spot is for colors in my opinion, just because they're in the middle, they're easy to look at, and then just make other more saturated colors stand out already, which is a good way to sort of cheat composition if you don't know that much about it already. But muted colors are pretty much colors in the middle to low end of the saturation scale. Just colors that aren't intense or strong. They are good for showing sadness or like a purposeful dull feeling. And this is the best thing for characters, I think. It makes it way easier to have them as base colors and to have whichever part of the character you want to stick out, stick out. This is more of my personal style, but I love saturated colors that make the art pop. The only thing I really have to say is to pay attention to your values like hell. There is no rules for this because as long as your values are good, you can choose what color you want. I said this already, but you can choose whichever colors. It does not matter. If you want that color and the value's right, actually 9.5 times out of 10, it will look fine. I only know this mainly from studying Mika Picasso. I watched some videos and then I went into her art on my own and made most of them all like with no colors and just the saturation, and I looked and seen back and forth what I could do, and I'm still doing that to this day. And I personally think since then, it massively improved what mine looked like. This one isn't in the script, but now that I said that, do what I just said for any of your favorite artists. Don't just have artists that you like to see have colored pieces or you like the way they color, bro. Take their art and color pick and see what it is they are actually doing in that. That is the only way you will learn and actually add what they're doing to your own art. Ask yourself, why is it you like it so much, and study it. Like, you only need 2 pieces. You really only need 1 piece? Really? Wait, but it helps so much. But that wasn't added. I just said that just now. That's pretty much the list. The only one I can think of right now, if I'm being honest. There's a lot more stuff I haven't learned yet, but these things, you keep them in mind. I personally vastly improved from these things. I'm not even sure if people make it to this part of the video, but if you do, comment like, I don't know, who renders the best for you. For me, it's probably this dude right now on Instagram. I really like looking at his work or their work. I have no clue if it's a boy or girl. And I thought that shit heavy. That's it.